She's sitting on the side of the highway, hands at 10 and 2, and the officer is already walking up, with his hand near his belt. Before he even says a word, she reaches over, props her phone against the dashboard, and hits record. That single decision, pressing one button tout, is the reason she's not sitting in a jail cell right now. It's the reason her case got thrown out of court. And it's the reason I'm making this video, because almost nobody understands the actual legal rules around recording the police. And that gap in knowledge is exactly what gets people arrested, charged, and sometimes convicted for something they had every right to do. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what happened in this case. I'm going to show you the 4 things officers say to try to get you to stop recording. I'm going to give you the exact words to use when they try it. And I'm going to walk you through the actual case law that makes recording the police one of the most protected rights you have during any encounter with law enforcement. Let's start with the stop. A woman Fair, we'll call her Maria for this video Fair, is driving home on a 2-lane road. She rolls through a stop sign that's partially obscured by an overgrown tree branch, and she gets pulled over. Nothing dramatic yet, just a routine stop. But Lyra has been in this position before, and she knows one thing, so it captures both her and the approaching officer. The officer walks up, and almost immediately, before even asking for her license, he says something that a lot of officers say in this exact situation. He says, "Ma'am, go ahead and turn that off for me." Now here's the first thing you need to understand. That sentence is not a lawful order. It sounds like one. It's delivered with the tone and cadence of an order. But under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, and under a mountain of federal case law, you have a clearly established right to record police officers performing their official duties in public. This isn't a gray area. This isn't something up for debate in a courtroom. Courts across the country, including multiple federal circuit courts of appeals, have ruled on this exact issue. In the case of Glik versus Cunniffe, decided by the First Circuit Court of Appeals in 2011, a man was arrested for using his cell phone to record police officers arresting another individual on Boston Common. The court didn't just rule in his favor. The court said, and I'm summarizing here, that the First Amendment protects the right to film government officials, including police officers, performing their duties in public spaces. The court specifically said this right is fundamental to a functioning democracy because the public has a legitimate interest in what government officials are doing, especially officers exercising authority over citizens. That's not the only case. In Turner versus Driver, decided by the Fifth Circuit in 2017, a man was recording a police station from a public sidewalk. Officers detained him and told him recording was illegal. The Fifth Circuit ruled that the right to film police was clearly established, meaning officers who violate that right can be held personally liable in civil lawsuits because they should have known better. And in ACLU versus Alvarez, the Seventh Circuit struck down an Illinois eavesdropping law that had been used to prosecute people for recording police in public, ruling that applying that law to open public recording of officers violated the First Amendment. So when this officer tells Maria to turn off her phone, he is asking her to give you up a constitutionally protected right, and he almost certainly knows it. But here's what makes this moment so critical, and this is trick number 1 that officers use. They don't say that's illegal. They know that's not true, and they know if they said that on camera, it would be used against them later. Instead, they use vague, authoritative-sounding language designed to make you feel like you have no choice. Phrases like, "Turn that off for me," or "put that away," or "you're not allowed to record this," said with total confidence, so that in the moment, you just comply, because it sounds official. Here's what Maria says back, and I want you to remember this phrase, because it's the single most useful thing in this entire video. She says, calmly and without any attitude, "Officer, I have the right to record. I'm not interfering, and I'll keep my hands where you can see them. Notice what that sentence does. It asserts the right clearly and factually. It preemptively removes his ability to claim you're interfering with his duties, which is the only legal basis ever used to actually stop you. And it reassures him about officer safety, which takes away his best excuse to escalate. Now here's trick number 2, and this one is more common than people realize. The officer, instead of directly ordering her to stop, says something like, "You know that's going to be used as evidence against you, right?" This is designed to scare you into stopping by making you think that recording somehow helps his case and hurts yours. But think about this logically for a second. If the stop is handled properly, if you're calm, compliant with lawful requests, and respectful, if the officer does something improper, oversteps his authority, or fabricates something in his report, that footage protects you even more. There has never been a situation where an innocent, non-interfering driver was harmed. The only people that footage hurts are officers who behave unlawfully. So when he says that, Maria doesn't argue. She just says, "That's fine, officer, I'm comfortable with that." Trick number 3 is when officers claim recording constitutes interference or obstruction under state law. Some states do have specific statutes that limit recording, usually involving audio wiretapping laws that were written decades before smartphones existed. But here's the key distinction courts have consistently drawn. Recording someone secretly, hidden from view, in a private conversation is different from openly recording, a public official performing public duties in a public setting. Maria's phone is sitting right there on her dashboard, in plain view. She's not hiding anything. She's not secretly wiretapping a private conversation. She's openly documenting a traffic stop that's happening in a public space, on a public road, involving a public official exercising government authority. Federal courts have made clear that state eavesdropping statutes cannot be constitutionally applied to this kind of open recording of police. Now, trick number 4, and this is the one that actually happens in Maria's case. And it's the moment that determines everything. The officer, frustrated that she won't stop recording and won't admit to anything, decides to escalate. He tells her to step out of the vehicle. Now, under the Supreme Court case Pennsylvania versus Mims, officers generally can order a driver out of a vehicle during a lawful traffic stop for officer safety reasons, and you should comply with that physical instruction. But here's what Maria does that most people forget. As she steps out, she doesn't put the phone down. She picks it up and keeps recording in her hand, continuing to document everything. Complying with a lawful order to exit the vehicle is not the same thing as giving up. The officer, now visibly annoyed, reaches for the phone and says, "I'm going to need to take that." And this is where it matters most, because what he does next is exactly, he grabs the phone out of her hand, without a warrant, without her consent, and without any of the narrow exceptions that would allow that seizure. Here's the legal reality. Under the Fourth Amendment, your phone is your property, and officers generally cannot seize it or search it without a warrant, your consent, or exigent circumstances meaning an actual emergency, like believing evidence, is about to be destroyed. Simply not liking that you're recording is not exigent circumstances. The Supreme Court made this even clearer in the case Riley versus California, a unanimous decision, where the court ruled that police need a warrant to search the contents of a cell phone, even when someone has been lawfully arrested, because of just how much personal and private information phones contain. Grabbing Maria's phone to stop the recording, or worse, to delete the footage, is not just improper, it's a Fourth Amendment violation, and in this case, it's also potential destruction of evidence and witness tampering, because that footage is now evidence relevant to the legality of the entire stop. When this went to court, Maria's attorney filed a motion to suppress, arguing that the seizure of the phone was unlawful, and more importantly, that the officer's own conduct during the stop Turskind, his attempt to stop lawful recording, his vague and shifting justifications for the stop itself, and his physical seizure of her property demonstrated a pattern of overreach that undermined the credibility of everything in his police report. Remember, without her footage, this case is simply the officer's word against hers. But because she recorded from the very first second those lights came on, the court had an unedited, time-stamped record of exactly what was said and exactly what was done. The footage showed she was calm. It showed she complied with every lawful instruction. It showed the officer escalating a rolling stop sign violation into a full detention because he didn't like being recorded. The prosecutor, watching that footage, knew there was no version of this that survives in front. The case was dismissed before it ever went to trial. So let's break down exactly what you need to remember from all of this. Number 1, you have a clearly established constitutional right to openly record police officers performing their duties. This has been affirmed by multiple federal circuit courts. Number 2, when an officer tells you to stop recording, that is not automatically a lawful order. Officer, I have the right to record, I'm not interfering, and I'll keep my hands where you can see them. Number 3, comply with lawful physical instructions, like stepping out of the vehicle. But that does not mean you have to stop recording or hand over your phone. And number 4, if an officer seizes your phone without a warrant, your consent, or genuine exigent circumstances, that's a Fourth Amendment violation, and it can be challenged in court, and it can be the very thing that gets your entire case thrown out. The lesson here isn't just about phones and footage. It's about understanding that the camera in your pocket is one of the most powerful legal tools you carry every single day. Officers who know the law respect that. Officers who don't, or who hope you don't know your rights, are the ones who end up creating the exact evidence that gets them, and their case, dismissed.